Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing another What If, and I'm going to be starting a new series. This series is going to be about Broly, and what if he wasn't a mutant in the legendary Super Saiyan like he is in the original timeline. I figured it's a little bit of a different take on the character, and I added a little bit more of a twist in here to make it not just a boring story about Broly being a regular Saiyan. This was an interesting one to do, so if you could support the channel I would appreciate it, and without further ado, let's get into the What If. We start on planet Vegeta when the king is in the nursery looking at his son, and he has noticed the other baby there. That baby, in fact, is on the same level of an elite Saiyan. That baby will be Broly, the son of a high-ranking Saiyan named Paragus. King Vegeta knew he had to do something about that kid one day, but for now, he had to leave the issue. Years pass and both Broly and Prince Vegeta's power levels grow, with Broly eventually becoming stronger by a little bit. This leads to King Vegeta sending him out on a mission as a disguise to get rid of him once and for all. And the king figures if it turns out the other way, Broly will become a powerful asset to the army. Paragus would demand to know where his son was going, but King Vegeta would use the excuse to calm him down and get him back on side. Broly would land on Vampa, a planet full of powerful bugs, but he would survive based on his high power level. This in turn would give him Zenkai boosts, which would make him stronger due to all these fights. While this would have been happening, Bardock would have recently returned from a mission, and he would have had a vision about the destruction of planet Vegeta. Bardock would try and convince King Vegeta to do something, and he would only put in a meeting with Frieza, which Bardock would have a bad feeling about. However, another Saiyan would believe him, and he would know exactly where they could go to avoid the fate of the planet. Paragus would take Bardock to get a couple of pods for him, Bardock, and Bardock's son Kakarot. First, Bardock would send off his son, and then the two would head off to where they would know Broly would be. Bardock and Paragus would end up landing on Vampa, and they would search the planet for Broly, eventually finding him. Broly would look tired and scarred, and Paragus would instantly be mad about what King Vegeta had put his son through. And though they couldn't be sure of the fate of the planet directly, Paragus would believe Bardock's vision, and they would all believe the planet Vegeta would be destroyed within the day. Broly would also be enraged by the news, and he would vow to become stronger, just so he can avenge his people. A decade would have then passed with the Saiyans training and trying to become stronger to eventually avenge their planet. During this time frame, Broly would have become the strongest in them all, and Bardock would eventually have a vision about a Saiyan with yellow hair. He would interpret it as the Super Saiyan form, but with so few Saiyans left, he would have to guess it would be Broly. He would tell Broly and Paragus about it, and they would agree with it, so they would start to train Broly to become the Super Saiyan. It would be during this training that the Frieza Force would have caught wind of a power level on the planet, and they would have landed down and eventually confronted the Saiyans. Paragus and Bardock would question them and why they're here, while Broly would just angrily stare at them. They would say that they work for Frieza, which would anger the Saiyans, and especially Broly. The soldiers would then tell them that the other Saiyans would have been glad to found other members of the race, and that surely they will have a place in the Frieza Force themselves. Now this would really anger Broly, and he would just power forward and beat down the Frieza Force soldiers like they were nothing. Though before Broly could destroy them, that one of them would have sent a message to Frieza, which would make them a threat for the Frieza Force. Paragus and Bardock would be pleasantly surprised at Broly's power, and shocked that there would be other Saiyans out there in the universe. For a second they think Bardock might have been wrong about the destruction of the planet, but the wording of the soldiers made them think they are indeed correct. Bardock and Broly would put the pods with the ones they came with, and they would start to train some more. Frieza would eventually call back the Saiyans, and he would say he would have a special mission for them, which would involve other members of their race. They would also be shocked to find out there would be others, but they would quickly fall in line and would go with the orders to bring them to the Force. The Saiyans would go to the last known locations of the soldiers, and then they would search the planet for their targets. They arrived to find Broly and Bardock training and would announce their presence. All the Saiyans would be on high alert as everyone watched each other, but eventually Raditz would be the first one to speak up, shocked by the fact that his father would be here. This would catch everyone off guard, and Bardock would then look at the Saiyan and would find out that yes, it in fact would be his son. This would help pacify the situation, and then Vegeta's crew would turn off their scouters, which would lead to a peaceful talk amongst the Saiyans. Vegeta would explain the situation and would explain to him about the planet destruction, although he would have some suspicions about the way it went down. They would all explain what Bardock had saw, and Vegeta would then suddenly realize that Frieza probably did destroy the planet like he suspects. This would irritate Vegeta's crew, and they would eventually decide with the other Saiyans, but they would have to report back to Frieza first. To save face, they would turn back on their scouters, and Vegeta would end up scanning them all, shocked at Broly's power level. He wouldn't say anything about it for now as they would head off, but he would keep that in the back of his mind for when they come back. Paragus would be hesitant to trust them, but Bardock would reassure him saying the Friezas are a common enemy, and at this point, they're more likely to side with them than they are with Frieza. And Bardock would in fact be right when Vegeta's crew comes back to the planet, scouterless and ready to train and get stronger with the other members of their race. Well, that's going to be the end of this part, and I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Not much else happened, like action-wise, but I think we set up a lot of good stuff here. I do plan on including a lot of action next time, and you can see where it's going based on the story, and I really do like that path. If you want to support the channel, like and subscribe, and if not, that's fine. I really just appreciate your view, and with that being said, I am out.